Hi, my lovelies! So today I'm going to be breaking some myths about community college. Yes, you heard me right, there are myths about community college, just like how there are myths about anything else. So I'm also going to give a shout out to my favorite podcast ever called Shine a Light On. I actually had the great opportunity to record for this podcast a few weeks back, and it was really fun. And the creator of this podcast allowed me to talk about some myths about community college and some misconceptions about community college and breaking the stigma around it. So you guys can go check them out in the description below because I will be linking them below. And actually my episode on that is coming out sometime in the beginning of February, and I'm very excited for you guys to hear that. So the first myth about community college that a lot of people have heard about is that community college is just a second high school, which is not the case. Actually, I've been challenged quite a lot in community college and have felt quite a lot of college community based in this CC. And yes, I'll be referencing community college as CC from now on because community college is a lot to handle word-wise. So I'll just be saying CC. Anyways, yeah, people say all the time that it's just a second high school, but in reality, I think that community college really challenges you in a way that would be different. Yes, most times you're still in your house, or most times you're still with your family, but it still challenges you just as much as the four-year university would. And I'm not trying to compare too much about the four-year university this time around, but it will give you almost the same exact experience as you would, especially in the classroom, as a four-year university would. And here's an example of that. When I came to community college, I had that aspect of, oh my gosh, it's gotta be just another high school. Oh my gosh, I'm just gonna be going to high school again. That is not the case at all. In one of my classes, actually, my professor was very strict on everything that she literally was like, we have to do this, that, and I'm not guiding you on anything. Most times professors will not say anything about when your stuff is due, when you have to get readings done, what parts of the readings you have to do, what you have to study. That's a lot of stuff you have to figure out on your own. So that's another difference between high school and community college. Another thing is that just because it's not a four-year doesn't mean that it's another high school. So even though it's like a little stepping stone between the four-year and the high school, that doesn't mean it's the second high school, and it doesn't mean it's fully related to the four-year. But it has more, characteristics towards the four-year than it would towards high school. And that's because you create more communities there, you are able to still join a lot of clubs, but your classes are especially much harder than high school would be. And also, you get to create your own schedule. It's not like high school where you would literally just look at, your counselor would give you your schedule and it was like right there. You would go to school for 8 hours a day and then do your extracurriculars after school. That is not the case. In community college and at the four-year too, it's pretty flexible to what your schedule is being. In my case, I get to take online classes because, COVID. But before COVID, I got to take classes during the day and then work at night. But I was also able to have little breaks in between. Unlike high school, where you're looking at a full 8-hour day with only like 5-minute break periods, which is not the case in community college or even at the four-year. So do not say that community college is just a second high school, because it is definitely not. Myth number 2. You only take gen ed classes in community college. That is false, and here's the reason why. A lot of times people think that community college is only for taking your gen eds and then transferring over to a four-year institution. Well, the actual story is you can take your gen ed classes and your electives at the same time. And most times it's actually required for you to transfer. So in the case of my college, I have to go based on a certain criteria in order to graduate with my associate in science. So I had to take some gen ed classes like econ, English, math, stuff like that, but I also got to take computer science classes as my electives because it was required for me to do it. So I had to do that also. And I know a lot of my friends who are in the Associate of Arts, they also had to take a lot of classes that were gen ed, but they also took their elective classes. A lot of my theater friends actually got to take a lot of theater classes, and a lot of my friends who are in design got to take a lot of their design classes. So it's just not for gen eds only. And it's not just a straight path for you to go through gen eds and then transfer. You're able to explore as you are in community college. This is actually really helpful, especially if you're an undecided major. If you're an undecided major, it's actually really nice because they allow you to take classes to let you explore. And exploring is one of the best things that community college allows you to do. At the 4-year, it's a little more hard to explore because you have to be in a certain college or stuff like that. And I'm not trying to say, oh, 4 years are bad and the fact that they don't take undecided students very well. Some actually really do. But at the community college, it's just much more friendly because you're able to take more electives that are meant for you. And it's also really nice because you just get to explore as much as you can. You get to join clubs, you get to do this and that, and it's not heavily based on how you're going to graduate and get those credits. You can still get your credits to graduate with your associates, even though you didn't take certain electives for a certain major. So it's really nice because you're able to just explore as much as possible. Myth number 3. Community college is not challenging enough. Well, this is false. And I've mentioned it a little bit earlier about how I was challenged in my classes. Well, this is the case. It's really funny because I talk to my friends who have gone to 4-year universities and their calculus classes were much easier than mine were. When I was going through calculus, it was rough for me to go through it because my professor was like, you have to do it this certain way, you have to do it that certain way, you gotta get this in at that certain time. It's actually just as challenging as it would be at the 4-year, and sometimes even harder because the professors are just so on it about everything. They'll guide you as much as possible, but they're very strict with how much there is you have to do. You still have to get all the curriculum done in order to pass the class. It's not just a one and done situation. You don't just go into class and you're like, hey, I'm here, I'm only gonna go for attendance. I had to actually create my own programs from scratch with barely any guidance. And it was actually really scary at first because I'm still relatively new to programming. So when I was going through this, I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared, I don't know what to do. But luckily the professor was there to help me out. But she would still challenge me and be like, hey, try this out on your own first before you do it with me. And then do more things with it if you can. So there are still challenges that come with being in community college, especially in the classes. Myth number 4. Community college is not meant for STEM students. And I really hate this one because of the fact that it is not freaking true. As a STEM student myself, I have noticed that even though I'm in community college, I still get similar opportunities that the 4 years do. So, for example, I was actually able to intern with Argonne National Laboratory because I'm a community college student. So they have a specific program with the Department of Energy that is called the Community College Internship Program. And it's specific to community college students. So that's one example of STEM students having a great opportunity just as much as the 4 years would with their internships. Not to mention, I'm able to apply to almost the same exact internships that 4-year university students are able to apply for. So it's just crazy that we have the same exact thing that 4 years do because we do the same work that they do. So we have the same opportunities. We also have tons of scholarships too, which is just crazy insane. Basically anything a STEM student can do at a 4-year, you're able to do at a community college, which drove me that was a crazy thing for me. And that's because as a STEM student, I didn't think I was gonna get as much because, community college, I thought it was just for dumb people at the time. But then I got into it and I'm like, oh, there's actually way more for STEM majors than you would think. What? I just looked up on the internet, hey, community college STEM major, internships. And tons, and I mean tons, of opportunities came up. And I was just like, this is crazy. This is crazy. What? even though I'm not able to network with like crazy big companies as much, I still get crazy opportunities as well, especially with that Argonne internship. I didn't think I would ever get it, but it was amazing. That's another story for another time though. So, but like, wow, there are still tons of opportunities for STEM students, especially now that we're online too. Being online has really helped because I'm able to go to like hackathons, conferences, meetings about like anything computer science related or even STEM related. And it's just been crazy. Not to mention, there's also a lot of classes you can take as a STEM major. For example, since I'm a computer science major, I was able to take my programming classes as I mentioned earlier. It's just crazy because there's tons of opportunities for STEM majors that you wouldn't think that are there, but in reality, they are there. Myth number 5. Wow, we're already on 5. Crazy. Anyways, myth number 5 is that there's no scholarships, especially in the STEM majors. Well, as I mentioned earlier, there are tons actually. So I'm probably going to do a separate video on this, and this will be later, but like, wow, is it crazy that there's tons of scholarships out there for community college students. Like, for example, I have a scholarship Excel sheet worth of scholarships that I can apply for, and I'm a community college student. So there are actually a lot that you can apply for, even at your own CC. Like at my own CC, I have gained over $5,000 worth of scholarships just because there's a whole database that they have of just one scholarship application and then a ton of scholarships that you apply for with just that one application. Like, it's insane how much money they give away. And a lot of people don't take opportunity of this because they don't know it's there. But in reality, community college allows you to afford college easily with scholarships. Like, I've literally paid nothing. Zero. I paid zero for school because of the fact that I got scholarships at my community college. And it was really easy to just pay it off. And like I said with like the opportunities earlier, I got a scholarship opportunity with the National Science Foundation that pays me $2,000 per semester, $2,000 per semester, which pretty much pays my schooling in full, which is just insane in my head. But like, it's crazy. Like, I get the opportunity to do an Argonne internship and also get a scholarship like this. Myth number 6. Myth number 6 is actually saying that CC is not a real school. Well, here's the truth about it. It is a real school. As I mentioned earlier, it's not necessarily high school and it's not necessarily the 4-year, but you still get a degree out of it. And you can even get a technical degree out of it. So it's still a real school that gives you credentials. Never think that CC is not a real school, because in reality, it is. You still get the same exact experiences that you would at the 4-year, and you still get to make a lot of connections. Myth number 7. Community college is only for people who have dropped out of either high school or even college before. This is not true. I've actually seen a lot of high school graduates go to CC because they were not able to afford the 4-year school. A lot of my friends are actually from high school. So a lot of them went to high school with me and decided to go to CC because it's just a much more affordable option. I actually know a lot of people that came straight to CC from high school as well. Obviously, there's a lot of like range in the ages that there are in CC, but in reality, most of us are actually high school graduates and not even like, it's just crazy. Most of us are high school graduates, so we're going through almost a similar process that you would at the 4-year. And a lot of us decided this because of the fact of affordability. And now, the biggest myth that I have heard so freaking much, I even heard it from other community college students that I asked about, like, hey, what are some myths that you heard? It's that community college is only meant for dumb people. This is not the case at all. Like, I'm seriously, like, this one makes me so mad all the time when someone is like, community college is only meant for people who cannot go to a 4-year, who cannot be accepted into a 4-year. Sorry, I got very passionate about that. But anyways, that's not the case at all. Like, it really isn't. Like, there's people like me who actually really enjoy school and are really smart and are really bringing different ideas to the table and bringing innovative ideas to the table. So community college is not for, like, no one is too smart or too dumb to go to community college. Like, it's for everyone. That's why it's called community college, because it's meant for everyone. And it's meant for everyone to be able to afford school and actually make themselves more innovative and more smart in the process. Like, just because you didn't get the best test score and just because you didn't get into your favorite four-year school doesn't mean you're dumb to come to community college. In a way, I will admit we are a bit smarter because we decided for the cheaper option, but I'm not gonna say anything about that. I'm kidding. Yeah, community college or four-year, you're still just as smart, and you actually just are smart because you want to expand your knowledge and you want to expand your education. That's all that really matters, is that you want to be able to get that degree and expand your knowledge. And you can do that at both the four-year and at the university. All right, well, that's the end of this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and go ahead and subscribe and give this video a like as well. I hope you have an amazing day and stay inspired, my lovelies. Bye. So, before I end the video, I wanted to start something new where I talk about a scholarship opportunity after each video. This time, the scholarship is the Logic Monitor Woman in STEM Scholarship. The Logic Monitor Scholarship is open to anyone who identifies as a woman, has completed at least a year of college before the fall of 2021, is pursuing a degree in a STEM field, and is enrolled in an accredited 2- or 4-year college or university in the U.S. for the 2021 school year. One recipient will receive $6,000 for the 2021 school year, starting in the fall of 2021. In order to apply for this scholarship, there is a form on their website that you have to fill out, which requires you to fill out a few questions about yourself and upload your resume and an unofficial transcript if available. There are also 4 free response questions. There is 1 personal response about yourself that has to be less than 200 words, and 3 of the other questions require a minimum of 200 words. Those are: what or who has motivated you to choose your career path in STEM? What activities or achievements in or outside of school are you involved in that you're proud of? And if you can solve a problem in your community with STEM, what is the problem and how do you solve it? The application deadline is March 31st, so don't be afraid to apply for it. You really never know what will happen unless you try. Also, if you're in high school, I linked a scholarship for you in the description as well. Good luck!